Hello, my name is Ann Pickard and welcome to my new tutorial series, Simply Sensational Sugarcraft. Over the next few months I'll be showing you lots of sugarcraft techniques to help you create models, flowers, frills, ruffles, wedding cakes and cupcakes. I will also explain how to adapt these skills to crafts and accessories too. This tutorial is about fabric effects. This is perfect if you're doing a vintage wedding cake, which is so on trend at the moment. If you would like to learn how to make these roses, I will be showing these in another tutorial. Firstly, you want to cover your cake in a thin layer of marzipan. Do this if it's sponge cake and perhaps a thicker layer of marzipan if it's a fruit cake. Position your cake on quite a large board because you want at least 2 inches all the way around so these ruffles can come out around the cake. And you want to cover your board in a strip of white sugar paste. I finished the edge with a piece of ribbon as well. Now we're going to roll out our icing. When you do fabric effects, if you try rolling sugar paste on its own, what you'll find is when you fold it, you get cracks along the fold. So what you have to do, you have to add a little bit of either flour paste or pastelage, blend it in with your icing, and that way when you do the folds, they won't crack. For a 6-inch cake, you're going to need about 1.5 pounds to 2 pounds of icing to actually cover this with the ruffles, and you may have some left over to make your roses as well. To this you want to add about 1 ounce, 30 grams of either flour paste or pastelage. I've already blended mine in and I'm now going to start rolling out my icing. Lots and lots of icing sugar underneath, or you will find that when you move this it's actually stuck to your board. So keep on moving it. Lots of icing sugar underneath and roll out quite a large piece to a thickness of about 1/8 of an inch, 2 to 3 millimeters. Now you want to cut a strip, and your strip's about 3 to 4 inches across. We'll move that piece away. We're now going to roll over that strip and we're going to make it wider. This is for the top of the cake, so it doesn't have to be a perfect strip that's the same width all the way along. Just roll over it and make it thinner. At that stage, if you pick it up and pop your fingers underneath it like that, can you just see the ridges of my fingers coming through the icing? That's when you know it's the right thickness. And at that stage you want to make it ruffly. So what we do is we fold the edge under and you pick it up and you do folds like that. They don't have to be symmetrical, they don't have to be all the same distance apart. It looks better in fact if they're slightly messy. We're now going to take our cake and we're going to spread some royal icing onto it. If your cake was a sponge cake, you could use buttercream instead of royal icing, or a frosting or a filling cream. Fairly generous quantity. And now I'm going to drop this frill on top of the cake. I want it to just very slightly come over the edge like that. We are now going to drop in our second piece of ruffled icing, and you do want to make sure that it overlaps the first one so you can't see any joins of marzipan. I've got a little piece there, just where you can see the royal icing, and with this little section of icing here, if I just fold that over, I can very easily cover that up. And that's the whole of the top of your cake done really, really quickly. We're now going to do the sides of the cake, and I've already put some royal icing around there, just a thin layer. It doesn't have to be tidy, no one's going to see it. And as I said before, if you're doing a sponge cake, you could use buttercream or frosting instead of royal icing. I'll put that to one side, and now you want to cut out some strips. Now these strips want to be very slightly taller than the sides of your cake, so measure the side of your cake and cut strips that are just very slightly taller. There we are. Put those to one side. When you're first doing it, you could cover those with a plastic bag just to stop them drying out, because you will be a little bit slower than me. Now you want to roll out your icing. Keep on moving it as I'm doing, and that way you make sure it's not stuck when you get to the end. You pick up your strip, you bend the end over to make a little hem, and then you just ruffle it. And now I'm going to pop this on the side. Press it down, it'll stick beautifully. That royal icing is just like glue, and that will stick there in place. And you've already done 1/4 of the way around your cake. Very, very quick to do this cake. Now when you come to do the next one, we need to roll it out thinner, so I'll just move my cake away again. Roll it out thinner again, and always do that test where you put your fingers underneath it, and you can just see it falling in between your fingers, and you know it's the right thickness. So that, you can just see them there, just slightly see the flesh colour through, then you know it's exactly the right thickness. Hem it, bend that under, frill, and because I've added that pastelage of flour paste to my sugar paste, it's not cracking on those joins, whereas if you didn't do that, it would crack. Now make sure when you put the next one on that you're going over the join of the last one, because you don't want any of your royal icing or the side of your cake or your marzipan to show. And just pop that on there. As long as it's overlapping, that's perfect. If you find any of your folds are kind of flopping inwards, just pinch them out while it's still soft. And there you have the second one on. Last one. Exactly the same again. I've just rolled over that and made a little pleat, but I'm not going to worry about that. I'm going to turn it into a fold. So if you do make a mistake like that, don't panic. Just go over it, and that's absolutely fine. We can use that. Last one from this strip, we're going to pop that on. Overlap, always. Plonk it on. Press in well. And you've practically gone round. We just need to do one more little one there, but exactly the same technique. And you've actually got your entire cake finished so quickly. A final little touch that you can do on this cake, which I absolutely love, is to put some luster spray. Now this is a PME luster spray, and this is pearl. And what I'm going to do is spray it all over the cake, and it makes it look like satin, so it really gives it a fabric effect. So if I just shake it first and spray, can you see the sparkle appearing there on that cake? It is just fabulous. It lifts the whole design. You can decorate this gorgeous vintage cake using either carnations or roses, and I will show you how to do these flowers in a future tutorial.